Hello again, and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to continue some grammar, specifically looking at the verbs get and got, so present and past, and also take and took, also present and past. So I really wanted to address this because there are some common mistakes that I hear in both speech and read and writing involving these verbs. First verb I'd like to look at is get, and it's past tense got. I wanted to take note of the fact that this is used in what's called a passive voice, where something happens to you, or you're affected by something out of your control. So here are a few examples. You can get a cold, you can get a coffee, you can get a new car, and you can also get a paycheck. So when you're given a paycheck, you work for your money and you receive it. It's not that you go out of your way to take it, although you are working. You're given or you get a paycheck. A cold, which is an illness many of us end up getting around wintertime. This is not something you are actively trying to obtain. This is something that you passively get. So I got a cold and was very sick and very sad. Bummer. Same thing with a coffee. I got a coffee. You can order it and then a coffee will come to you. So I got a coffee. And there are a whole lot of other examples as well. But again, just to remind you, get and got are used in the passive voice, where something happens to you. Let's take a look at the next one. So now we have the verb take, and it's past tense took. So for this one, this is what's referred to as an active voice, where you are engaged in doing something intentionally. So for example, a sample that I give you here. So a sample is something you would receive in a store. Like in the United States, we have Costco, where samples of a product are offered to people and they are taken by the people they're offered to. So I'm walking around the store, I see this delicious looking sample, so I take the sample. A coffee, you can take a coffee. However, depending on the context of the sentence, it may be misunderstood as far as whether you were given permission, or let's say I walked into a store and I took a coffee. I actively grabbed it. Depending on how I word it, it could sound as though I took it without permission and I stole it. The money. So if I have the money, I can say I take the money, or I took the money. Again, depends on the context of the sentence and what you're saying, but it could be misconstrued or misunderstood to mean you've stolen. So you really want to be mindful of the way you're using take or took when it comes to a lot of these things, because the impression that you believe you're giving, meaning you may be giving the wrong impression. Same thing with a cold. A cold is something that you don't go out of your way to take, because you can't really take an illness so much as you receive an illness passively. It happens organically, let's say. Although there are some who probably go out of their way to get a cold so they don't have to come to school, and I'm sure you're one of them. But you wouldn't take a cold, you would get a cold. It is a passive event. It's something that happens to you, or you would use passive voice to describe that. Whereas, again, when you're referring to take or took, it is an active use of the verb. So this was a very brief video distinguishing between get and got, and then take and took. Get and got is a passive voice verb. So this is where something is happening to you, as opposed to take and took, which is an active voice verb, where you are actively going out of your way to obtain something in this case. Just be mindful of both and understand that if you use one and not the other, depending on what you're saying and how you're saying it, it may be misunderstood to mean without permission. So if, for example, you take something versus I got something, depends on how you say it, but it could imply that you've stolen something versus you were given or you ordered something. So just watch out for that. All right, for now, I wish you guys well, and until the next one. All right. For now, I wish you guys well, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.